Hey guys, it's me, Miss Norris, and today I'd like to share a fun Halloween read aloud with you of the story, The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. The story, The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin, was written in 2001 by Joe Troiano, and it's illustrated by Susan Banta, and it tells the story of Spookley and how he became so square. If you're ready to hear the story, I'm ready to share it with you. Here we go. The Legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. Look how cute he is. One day in the pumpkin patch, the strangest little pumpkin hatched. Spookley wasn't like his friends. Where they had curves, he had ends. Spookley was different. He was odd. He was rare. Spookley the pumpkin wasn't round. He was square. So all of these other little pumpkins are round, but not spookly. He's square. While the round pumpkins had fun rolling along, poor Spookly sat there, shaped all wrong. He tried and tried with all his might, but he couldn't budge. He just sat tight. The other pumpkins teased him because he was square. Spookly wished he was round and could roll everywhere. That is, until one night when they were all discovered. It's fine to be round when the weather is fair, but there are times it's better to be a square. So the other pumpkins rolled around and got to play, and Spookly just sat. He couldn't roll. And the other pumpkins teased him. And then one day he discovered why it's fine to be round in good weather, but when the weather gets bad, it might be better to be a square. Halloween was just a day away when a mighty storm blew across the bay. It tossed the round pumpkins to and fro. It snapped their vines, and then off they'd go. Bouncing left, slamming right, banging, bashing, what a sight. Spookly sat there filled with fright, but glad to be a square that night. So the storm is has blown all the round pumpkins off their vines, and they're blowing all around, but Spookly is just sitting there, and he was glad to be a square that day. Suddenly, the fence gave way. 3 pumpkins rolled out into the bay. Uh-oh. So the fence broke, and 3 pumpkins got washed away into the bay. Spookly knew what must be done. It was up to him. He was the one. He teetered, he tottered, he tipped, he tried, and finally flipped. He was on his side. Again he tipped, again he flopped, again he flipped, and then so he has a plan, and he's tipping himself and teetering and tottering until he can flip until he stopped right in the gap where the fence had snapped. He blocked the way. The hole was capped. All the pumpkins shouted, "Hooray! Spookly the square pumpkin had saved the day." Then a pumpkin hit him with a whack. He thought his shell would start to crack. Then another one hit him with a thump, and another one with a smack. So he got himself in the gap and is blocking it so that the pumpkins won't roll out. But now other pumpkins are rolling into him really hard. Then one by one, A ton of pumpkins piled on the stack with a bang and a bash and a crunch and a crash, and then it all went black. So all these pumpkins are on top of Spookley, and finally he either went to sleep or he just couldn't remember what was going on anymore. At dawn, when the storm had stopped, the farmer came out and checked his crop. He picked his pumpkins up one by one and laid them out in the warm, dry sun. And when the last was moved away, the farmer could see what had saved the day. An odd-shaped pumpkin, short and dense, was wedged against the broken fence. Its shell was bruised, its stem was too, but there was brave little Spookley, sitting straight and strong and true. Right then and there, the farmer knew, of all the seeds he'd ever sown, Spookley's were the most special that had ever grown. So when the farmer came up to check on his pumpkins after the storm, he realized that Spookley had saved the day, and even though he was a little banged up and hurt, he knew that it was the most special seed he had ever planted. And the next year, when it was time to sow, he sowed those seeds in every row. He watered and weeded and watched them grow, and oh, that morning about mid-June, when the pumpkin patch began to bloom, there were tiny pumpkins everywhere. Hundreds and hundreds, most of them square. So the next year, the farmer planted mostly square pumpkins. Wouldn't that be interesting to see? But some were cubes and some rectangular. Some were flat and others triangular. There was a bed of bright red ones and 2 rows of blue. There were polka dot pumpkins and rainbow ones too. There were thousands of colors and hundreds of shapes. Oh, what a garden variety makes. Look at all those different kinds of pumpkins. Not just the ones that you and I normally see, but different shapes, different colors. Do you think these are all true? I don't know. Now every year on Halloween, Spookley's patch is quite a scene. People come from far and near to see what wonders grew that year. They stop, they gawk, they gaze, they stare. Then they pick a pumpkin that's round, triangular, or perfectly square. So Spookley's patch has become very popular, and people pick a wide variety of things. Look at that triangular pumpkin back there. Now you know the story of how Spookley grew. Maybe someday you'll tell someone too. And they'll go tell someone who'll go tell another. And maybe one day we will all discover you can't judge a book or a pumpkin by its cover. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed the story of the legend of Spookley the Square Pumpkin. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the page. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber yet, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom of the page, and don't forget to click the bell so that you're notified when there's new content. I hope to see you all again real soon. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween, and goodbye.